Thank you, all of everyone, for being here, taking time out of your busy, busy December to talk about your microgrants award and what you did with it and how it panned out for your composting company and for your community. I'm not sure who wants to go first. Anyone the most excited to share? Looks like Michelle's raising her hand. So if you want to share your screen, Michelle, and let us know about your project.
All right. And three, two, one. Good morning, good afternoon for those that are watching it. I am Michelle Gambon. I like to tell people if you can remember Game On, you can recall my name. It's a good explanation of my personality and how I approach composting. I'd like to give a introduction and general overview of how Go Grow Enviro was able to use the micro grant from BPI. To be able to describe an introduction, I generally think it makes the most sense to explain to folks that I am the Mary Poppins of composting. So basically, I am able to turn into, with students and our community, turn composting into that spoonful of sugar that is necessary and fun with enthusiasm. When I looked at the way to present on the impact and who we are with Go Grow and my nonprofit Community Sprouts, I looked at the timeline, and what really made the most impact to me is how long I've been doing this work. I became a master gardener back in 2010 to 2011, and then the partnerships and collaborations and the growth of the community and the impact that it made. Who you see pictured here up above on the banner are our students across multiple different groups and different education pods throughout our school that were able to benefit from this BPI grant. What the grant did is it helped us have clean operations. It increased impact. We had students that have these really expensive kicks. They're literally concrete babies. They have shoes that cost, $100+ and they have nice clothes that they didn't want to get dirty. So shoe covers were able to be purchased. Being able to have things like wipes that were biodegradable and to be able to keep things clean. And then also getting things like compost cranks. So at first, when the students were introduced to it, they not only were introduced to simple machines and body mechanics, but they also didn't have to touch the compost. What we ended up doing is, because of our inclusion from having some of these tools and making it cool, that Mary Poppins component of composting, we were able to increase from 770 pounds up to 2,800 pounds. That's over a ton. We also were able to address biological decomposition by making a global impact. So one of the things that we did is we had focus on any event that we had, any gathering that we had. We wanted to make sure that they were biologically degradable products. So we had a party, everything was compostable. We had the awareness to the teachers and students, and then I purchased more tools to use. So as it became more popular, more interesting, more, what are they doing over there? We were able to increase our diversion of the food waste. We were able to process more. And I came to learn another year later that the seeds that the students planted or their next sibling in the house was actually interested because of seeing their parents or their older sibling on Instagram, or now it's TikTok and such. So it did, and literally seeds that the students put in from capstone projects prior are in bloom and growing now. We went across 4 lunch teams across a 2,000 student population. We were able to then integrate our special ed students, our adaptive students as well. And then it became interesting enough that the students' attention were to it. So when they were told about making a capstone project for global impact, they asked to report on the garden. when we increased from the 700 to over 2,000 pounds, that over a ton of compostable waste, we actually were equivalent to outputting much less carbon and comparing it to a car. And here's a picture of our compost here on the right. And that's all that remains from multiple parties that we had with everything biological the next calendar year later. Those are the only remnants I could find in digging through that black gold. And so what we did use the funding for was compostable bags, shoe covers, compostable wipes, compost cranks, and then we had a zero waste, plant-based appreciation lunch. In conclusion, we made an impact because we had new engagement. Our students and volunteers were recruited and grew. Our closed loop practices expanded. We increased visibility across student populations and teacher partnerships, and we made it cool in the schools. And we inspired the next generation of students to actively find sustainability solutions. If anybody wanted to hold their camera over this QR code here, you'll be able to pull up a video of the students. Now, what I did learn is that this QR code is active for the day that it is used. So you can regenerate a QR code to your heart's content, but if you go back days later, it's just going to draw you to Instagram. So today only, feel free to see these wonderful students in action. Thank you for letting me share.
That was awesome, Michelle. Thank you. Always so cool to see projects in schools. I hear a lot of people saying that's like the best place to get to plant the seed, no pun intended, in younger generations' heads, because they're the ones that will make the difference later on. Who wants to go next?
Either way.
How about how about Marissa?
Hello, can everyone see my screen? Good morning. Nice to see everyone virtually. And talking about Earth Matter New York, we're located in the New York Harbor. It's an island, and we've been around for 16 years, where we incorporated after we did our first zero waste event, where many people came from all over different waterways, and the emphasis on being able to have this as a place where we can explore how we can reduce waste and have a closed loop became really abundantly clear, and we've been there ever since. Our goal is that we encourage neighbor participation and leadership in composting. We have 4 programs in our organization. We have 11 full-time staff. We have over, I don't know how many volunteers, about 15,000 volunteers. We have our Zero Waste Island program. We have our Soil Start Farm program. We have our lavender field farm, and everything comes back to our Compost Learning Center, which is the heart of what we do at the Compost Learning Center. So this island is run by a nonprofit called the Trust for Governors Island. And it really, since 2009, we have really focused on having a way for people to have a way to reduce their waste, including compostable serviceware. It's a way to educate, and it's a way for us to make it like reducing the amount to landfill. And of course, it's about application of the compost back onto the park and to the farms that are on Governor's Island. We've had 1 million visitors last year to the island. No one lives on the island, but it's a destination in New York. We have a partnership with all of the cultural and environmental organizations that seek to be able to help with the climate solutions that they are, part of what they do, educational programming. There's food vendors, which are mostly seasonal. We only have one that's year-round at the moment, and we host 95 zero waste events every year. We work with the high school. There's 600 students, and they're doubling in size with a new building and a repurpose of an existing historic building. And we have 87 acres of parkland that we can apply our compost to. So this is what we did with our funding.
Welcome to Zero Waste Island, also known as Governor's Island, also known as Nut Island or Paganook, named by the Lenape for its beautiful trees of hickory, oak, and chestnut. But what does it mean to call this island zero waste? This means all cups and serviceware from all vendors and events is completely compostable, made of organic substances that we return to the earth from which they're made. It's also the home of Earth Matter, site of Governor's Island's closed-loop system serving New York City, where organic food waste is gathered from the 5 boroughs and transformed into rich matter that replenishes soil. You can participate in this ecological experiment by putting your discarded items in the designated bins. You're not just throwing them away. Everything has its place on Governor's Island, the island of zero waste. You're on Zero Waste Island. Your trash isn't trash. Compost or recycle it. Everything is given life again when you put what you used in the designated bin. If it's organic matter that's in your hand, you can compost that in the orange can. In the orange can. In the orange can. The compost goes in the orange can. If it's bottles and cans that can cycle through, then recycle the used in the can of blue. In the blue can. In the blue can. Recycling goes in the blue can. But if it's plastic bags, we can't handle that. That's landfill bound in a can of black. The black can, the black can, the landfill goes in the black can. Even though we're in this vast, intricate city, we're still on the land. In the midst of this concrete jungle, you're in a beating heart of material transformation, where what would have been waste is given new life. Thank you for joining us here, and for participating in this urban closed-loop system. Know before you throw. Everything has a place on Governor's Island, the island of zero waste.
Okay, so that's the video we made thanks to BPI. Okay, so the goals were to change visitor behavior, maximize food waste and compostable serviceware capture rate. We wanted to heighten the public awareness around the closed loop and how we can all participate in an exportable model. And we wanted to optimize our compost operations by reducing contamination rate by the look-alike single-use plastics. Our immediate impacts were that it's using this video as our calling card so people can see when they come to Governor's Island what we're up to. It elevates our relationship with the island, with the trust. It's a we, it's not us over there on the side, but they have called us their professional official partner. And so it's our first time since we had that relationship that we have some materials that are helping to promote that. And it just gives us a vehicle that hopefully is catchy for people that are coming to the island, and also with our BPI partners. So what we expect as far as returns is that we'll continue to do waste audits, and we're hoping to see a decrease in misdirection after people watch the video to recycling landfill, because now people do put this compostable cup in the paper, not into the compost. We want to reduce the amount of staff time that are sorting, and we want other people to get on board with it. And of course, we want to continue to produce a quality product compost. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Marissa. I really do love that video. Every time I'm like bopping my head. Where, you might have mentioned this, but where is that? Where do people usually see that? Just on the website or socials, or where is it usually?
Yeah, so one of the exciting things we're looking forward to in 2026 is to have it on the video screen when people are waiting at the ferry terminal to get onto the ferry. So there is a projection there, and it hasn't been working. It's been up for 2 years. So we're really looking for that to be a loop that they can see as they're waiting or going to the bathroom. It's on the way to the bathroom. We also want to have the island promoted more heavily on their website. They do have us on their website, but it's not as front and center because they're really focused on art and cultural as well as other kinds of environmental, but we really are the vanguard for their environmental programs. They do have other grants as well, but we're hoping that this year we can work on a new marketing campaign so that they will, put us a little bit closer to when people first zoom into their website.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that idea with the ferry. That's a lot of visibility there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you. We will move on to Stacy now, and I'm going to share your slides for you. So just
Appreciate it.
shout next or give me a nod, and I'll go forward with them.
Sounds good. All right. Well, I'm Stacy Klein with New Earth Farm. We basically had to double brand at some point. We're like, oh, we're more than an urban farm. We plan to grow a lot more stuff. Realized New Earth Farm doesn't really communicate that we compost. So compost STL is kind of how we try to do that. So it seems like people are starting to understand. So yeah, we've been in St. Louis doing this for just over 5 years. You can go to the next slide. It'd be great. So we started out by just doing residential pickups. And then I think it was about 2 years in, we started doing drop-offs. There's other residential pickup services in town, but there weren't any drop-offs. So the BPI grant project, our objective was just to make the better use. We have, it's 22 food waste drop-off locations, but communication has always been hard. You're busy actually doing the composting, solving the problems, putting out the fires, and other stuff's kind of just an afterthought. So the goal with this grant was to communicate to our existing subscribers what items we take, including BPI products, because we still realize we have a lot of subscribers who don't know that, oh, you're having a party more than just your family and you want to use compostable products, like we can take those. Even people who've been composting with us for years. And then for the general public, most of our bins, we try to put them at high visibility spots where people already are going throughout their week, YMCAs, churches, coffee shops. So people walk past these bins and they don't know what they're for. So that's kind of a missed opportunity. And so to let people know, there's a composting option here. And did you know you could compost serviceware? And then for the host sites, we just wanted to acknowledge their partnership and look a little bit more official. And obviously logos, other companies' logos give you a little bit more credibility. It may not actually mean you're any more trustworthy, but it is something. It's these other brands, these companies, these host sites have partnered. BPI has partnered with this organization. It gives a little bit more credence. So we were excited to be pushed to finally do something that had been on the back burner and we just hadn't done it. So you can go to the next slide. So these are our 21 drop-off locations. We are located right there above the O in St. Louis. That's where our site is. So we have a drop-off there. It's about a 1 acre. I mean, you can see the arch from our site. So it's very urban, but it's alongside the interstate, wedged between the river and the interstate, and there's kind of an industrial wasteland as you head from the arch to the airport. That's where we process all of our food waste. So yeah, we have all these spots that were just people who knew about them, and lots of times people didn't know about them. Go to the next. So this is the sad before. As you can see, the existing signage was just non-existent. There's a brick wall and a bin. I mean, the bin had a sticker, but it's the back of a retail shop. Unless you had a reason to be back there, you wouldn't really see it. Well, it's off a parking lot, so you could go into the shop that way, but you would just think it was for the use of just the store itself. We had a couple yard signs at a few locations, and then this one on the far right says Bar K. It's a dog park that, yeah, it was in sad shape because that was the only real branded sign we had, and it was in bad condition. So we needed to do this. So we were really excited. So the next slide shows what we purchased with the grant. So with the $2,500 of BPI grant funding, these are the signs. So we are thrilled with them. yeah, we really wanted to communicate to both the already composting public and those who are like, what's that bin? Why is this person pulling up their car and throwing in a brown paper bag of scraps or a bucket of scrap? Like, what's going on here? So we tried to really concisely say, this is what the program is. People who already signed up know, but if you're just walking into the YMCA, here's what it is, how it works, what goes, BPI's logo, along with just, we try to keep it, you know, as simple as you can. The more information you give people, the more intimidated to they throw up their hands and don't want to do it. If it's overwhelming, instead of doing a bad try or a partial try, people just won't do it at all. So it's just like, it's this simple. If it grows, it goes. When in doubt, leave it out. Try to keep it really simple, and then, you know, offer help for subscribers if there's an issue with the bins or if you want to sign up. So it's designed to appeal to both people you already using the service and those not using the service who might be interested. So yeah, that's what they look like. And the corner there, it says partnering with. That was one of the challenges. I thought, oh, most of these businesses, the Y, they have stickers. They have little stickers for your car and for everything. And everyone will just give me a logo sticker and I'll slap it on there and it'll be specific. Cause I ordered 30 signs because we're headed towards mid-20s of locations. And it was not that simple. People didn't have stickers, or they were the wrong size, or no one knew where they were. So I've ordered a sheet of vinyl with each little logo, and then getting logos that were high enough resolution. You know, it's those little nitty gritty things that end up slowing you down so much. So there's a picture of one with the partnership sticker on it. But so yeah, the next slide is how it's helped. So this is a before and after of the same location. This is at a brewery. And so we've noticed that we always had residential service. And then, like I said, the drop off came later. But more recently, more of our signups, a higher percentage of our new signups have been for drop off bins as opposed to residential signups, which we're happy to take both. But drop off bins, we're trying to grow. They're, you know, more environmentally friendly. We're taking a truck to pick up one bin that has 20, 30, 40 households food waste instead of each little front porch pickup. And then not everybody always answers the questions you want them to answer, but a lot of almost immediately, as soon as the signs were up, we have a question on our intake form. How did you hear about us? And subscribers started checking the box on our, you know, from your bin signage. And they never did that before because there were no signs. So that was exciting to see that quickly that the signs were getting people's attention. So yeah. And the next slide is, yeah, so in addition to people knowing about the service who didn't know about it at all, like I said, it allows us to look a little more official and acknowledge the host site. So this one, the partnering with is Old North. That's actually the neighborhood where our compost site, well, we're just across the interstate from it, but it's where we live and where we initially started in our backyard. So partnering with Old North, and then there will be one partnering with Espresso Yourself, partnering with the South County YMCA, partnering with the Brentwood YMCA. So it just helps people see that this is a legitimate thing. And then, like I said, the BPI logo there, it makes people say, oh, what is this? And it's becoming more common, you know, in the grocery store, you get the paper plates that used to always be that waxy coating. I can't think of the manufacturer, but they actually have a BPI option now. And so I've noticed a lot fewer questions. People are more like familiar with, oh, this is the one they take. This is the one to buy. This is the one to look for. So yeah, many of our current subscribers are now aware of the ability because of our ability to compost BPI certified products, because a lot of people still thought that we just took, I mean, it's on the website, it's on the welcome email, but there's so much information, but this is what we know they see. They walk up to the bin, it's right there. They don't have to go digging through, you know, an old email when they signed up to say, what do they take? Oh, they take this stuff, like it's right there. So we're really excited for how people are more receptive to it and feel more able to compost. It's not this big scary thing. So I think there's another slide. Yeah, so thanks to BPI and happy composting.
Another great presentation. Thanks, Stacy. That was awesome. You were the designer of the signs, or did you work with a designer? Can't remember if you said that.
I think I threw something together and then I gave it to one of our drivers who has an art degree. and I was like, hey, play around with this.
Nice.
And so it was kind of a joint effort, but we were pretty happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, looks great.
Did you use Canva to create the symmetry between the logo and then the imaging that you used in your presentation? The person at the bins
Oh,
matched your
those little
logo
the
and
little drawings.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those illustrations we had made way back, and those are all over our website. That's how we tried to communicate what this weird thing is that we do, that more and more people do know what it is now. Even 5 years ago, it was like, like compost, wait, like what? Like leaves, or, they're like cow poop. And we're like, no, no, no.
Yeah. Well, it looked amazing.
Thanks.
And your images too, Marissa, like to see that huge heap and volume of the actual waste and the biological products it's impactful. I could almost smell the screen.
Thank you. Yours was wonderful too.
I love witnessing this support among fellow composters. It was great to see. Well, now we can dive into some questions and talk about some more specifics with each project. While I pull up those questions, do any of you have like burning questions for each other?
I wanted to know just who was part of your team.
It's my husband and I. He's operations manager. I'm owner, which basically, just means you make a lot of decisions all day long. And we have currently 5 drivers and 1 community outreach coordinator. So our community outreach coordinator handles, a lot of educational events, tours, goes to schools, communicates with drop-off host sites, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a small but mighty team. And I was wanting to know, Marissa, like 1 million visitors to the island, how much food waste are you guys handling every year?
Not a lot from them, because most of the food waste is coming from the municipal people that are neighbors, New York City residents dropping off at farmers markets, community gardens, and it's getting hauled to us from our community partners. When you come to the island and you pay $20 for lunch, generally people eat it. They're starving. And if you're not going to eat it, you're going to give it to your friend who you came with or your child. So we get a lot of the compostable serviceware, which is another reason why we really support serviceware, because the majority of what we get is soiled serviceware from the island. We do process a lot of the yard waste though, from the 87 acres of parkland. And so we do need the food scraps from off island currently to make a good recipe. It's less than 10% of the food scraps that we process coming from on the island.
Gotcha. But like tons a year, it's significant. All what's brought off from off island and what is produced on island, it's a pretty significant amount, it looks like.
We're processing about 600 to 700 tons of food scrap and yard waste a year. So, as it's really like only 10% of that.
Still a lot. I was just wondering, Michelle, with the kids, you talking about just them not wanting to get dirty and touch it. Like, did you notice, was there big change from the beginning of the program? And is it like a class that they're required to take, or they choose to take this extracurricular, or?
They have to be a student in good, they're Earth ambassadors. So they have to be a student in good standing where they get their teacher's permission to participate, because what it does is it carves them out from their 5th or 6th period, depending upon when their lunch hour is, where they go back to class late. So they have to have their schoolwork turned in. And actually I've expanded into students that are otherwise in disciplinary tracks, because they do the work, they turn in their assignments to be able to participate. So they work to participate. So it was a matter of making it cool. Like, it's fun to put on the shoe covers and go out in front of everybody. Like, as they're having to go back to class, they get to miss class for a bit, and they're smashing apples, and they're, having fun with leaves, and they're using cranks. And they're then, when they get outside, seeing this was trash and now it's like it doesn't smell bad. It's brought worms, it's alive. Like it clicks.
So
Like even the
it changes
student in the
eventually,
hallway
gross
came
out.
back to one. Yeah. And then they get outside and they're their real self when they get working with that.
So cool.
Yeah. Earth Ambassador just sounds cool.
Yeah. And I wanted to hop on to what Stacy was asking, which is, did you see a transformation between not wanting to get their sneakers dirty to being able to actually feel more comfortable with the material?
I've seen a lot of bravery to touch it, to touch the compost, or to be even around bugs. Some of our students are different degrees of sensory, things such as autism and such. So to build that comfort and that trust of those stimuli, or just not even caring anymore, like because they trust that these wipes are going to get their shoes clean. And I think they kind of like the attention of me being like, oh, you got some on your shoe. Let's use this biodegradable wipe and, give me your foot. Like yesterday, a student had a bunch of splatter in their brand new pants that they paid for themselves, but we cleaned it all up and they became the star of the show. And it was fun because they got to clean nature off them. And they're like, now I smell so clean. So
Well, yeah, that ick factor is a big barrier with composting for sure.
yeah, having the equipment that I don't feel bad about using, right? Like that I don't feel like I'm using this wipe that's never going to break down, or I have to go use this highly toxic soap to help you and it's going to impact my skin. And, instead I get to use this that can break down in nature. So it's good for my skin. Then I can have other conversations about your body and your skin being the largest organ and, that speaking to the whole health of a student.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, these are all amazing examples of public outreach and communication and really making composting feel more like a we thing, like it's accessible to really anyone that wants to do it. But going off of that, one of the questions that was specific to this group is that outreach obviously takes ongoing effort. Like, of course, you can have these projects and they create like a spike in excitement. But what are some plans for continuing this and keeping the momentum? If you have any plans set up, or what would you like to do to keep the excitement at a high level? This is for anyone that wants to answer.
We're very excited. This opportunity has really helped us be able to approach the island and talk about a joint marketing campaign. And it really was launched right when it was like a 2-year process for us to be able to become the official composter versus we were doing it before, but we had a third party. And now we're the direct organics processor. And so it just really helps to have this video to be able to promote the work that we want to do. And we're still tweaking that poster because, again, we want it to be something that says Governor's Island partner on it. And so we're very excited about working with their development team.
And to answer the question, this bins don't go away. The signs hopefully will be there for, I hope they don't fade for 5 or 10 years to get them new vinyl for them. But, and we currently are submitting tomorrow a grant to a local organization to put concentrated effort. I mean, we put in new drop-offs as we can, but it takes a lot of communication with the host site. But the signs help say, look how official this is. And they're more willing to say, sure, you can put that in our parking lot, or sure, you can put that against our building. But we're working on a grant to hopefully have concentrated funds towards all that communication to, instead of rolling out 22 bins over, I don't know, 3.5 years, to try to get 15 bins like in a year, so that it's just more ubiquitous. Like you go around town and you can't help but see that there's composting options available. And if you don't know what it is, then you eventually ask, you're like, what are these green bins with these signs? And what is BPI? That people just have to see it all the time. They, enough exposure. Eventually there's some kind of acknowledgement of, oh, this is a thing that I could do. Oh, I could do this thing. So yeah.
I would just say the longevity and in making the audience of being this partner nationally, like to have been elected for, Microgrant from BPI, I was at a Board of Education ceremony last night, and it's the people in the community that make the decisions for the school district, right? And for the pace of who gets elected locally. And somebody turned around and they're like, I heard compost and I heard garden and I knew exactly who was here. So that you can't create that overnight. That has to come from these partnerships and these awardees and that place to really define. I think, like Marissa said, like, shows you're in this game. You are worthy and you are presence in this initiative.
Yeah, and it is tough to balance like looking professional, but also not putting too much information out there because you don't want to scare anyone away, and also keeping it fun. Um, but I think all these projects did a great job balancing that. And kind of going off of what you said, Michelle, well, really all of you, like being recognized as a business and as a, integral part of the community. This is more of an economic sided question, but how do you foresee this impacts like the growth of your business and really green jobs in general? And let me know if that doesn't make sense.
I mean, every day I show students that there's all different people in our community, there's different jobs because they see this isn't going away in trash cans. This is becoming a viable tool in the garden. And then it's also helping my plants are growing better because I'm using this compost that I built. And, when it was drought time in the summer, we put our home built compost and that mucusy, beautiful, spongy goo kept the plants alive that needed it when the water was turned off and it wasn't raining. So these students get to see, I did this. I grew this. I kept it alive. I get these apples. I get to bring my titi these tomatoes. I made the capstone showcase to present because I participated in this. Like there's ripples, 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 ripples. And now I don't have to buy compost cranks for a while. So that the sustainability of that is pretty cool. I don't have to worry about it.
What came to mind for me is the connection of the arts. We were able to hire our videographer and be able to have that person, Nate, be able to expand his repertoire and be able to hopefully get more clients to be able to do the same kind of like, hopefully it's appealing to other audiences in the sustainability field. So he has one more video that he's produced in that line. And I feel that resonates with a lot of people that hopefully will trickle down into becoming able to be feeling it's cool. And then of course, right now we have a lot of training programs and we're only able to give stipends. And we really do hope that the industry grows. And I think the video is going to have some kind of an impact with recognizing like a zero waste event is a thing and that you could be a zero waste event producer. And so again, we're training people to be able to do those things. And in New York City, that's a hot thing. But we really like to see as the island advances and all over the world, as people use these products, that hopefully they'll see themselves as a person that promotes zero waste events. And there's a composter at the end of the event.
Just practically, if we get more subscribers, then we have more demand, we put more locations. Currently, everybody besides my husband and I are 5 drivers and community outreach coordinator. They're all part-time, so it's not moving someone to full-time is basically another job, giving another half of a job. So we're moving towards that. So hopefully our commercial driver who covers and picks up from these drop-off locations, he drives 3 days a week. So hopefully in a year or two, it can be a full-time 5-day-a-week job.
It's great. Thank you for all those answers. We're almost at time, 11:45. I know that's as long as I can have you all before you have to get back to your 5 million things to do. But this was really great and super valuable, both for you to be able to share your story and get your name out there even more, but also for BPI to be able to show that these grants really do have an impact on growing composting infrastructure. So thank you so, so, so much for taking time out of your day to do this. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely meeting everyone, Stacy and Michelle, and thank you so much.
Yeah, same. Take care.